Hello everyone, welcome to Elliott Wave Forex.com YouTube channel. This is Henry. Today is Tuesday, September 27. The time is around 2:30 a.m. GMT. And today we're going to be looking at the chart of AMD. This is a 30-minute chart here. Now we can see we are now ending with 2 here in the minor degree, $78, and with 3 and 4 also calling completed here, and now within the with 5. And then once we finish this 5 wick down, okay, we should be looking to finish with 3 in the intermediate degree, followed by a 4 and a 5 again. So what we're gonna do here is, instead of now a lot of beginner waivers or people that don't understand Elliott Wave that much, they consider all this swing here is fixed in stone, but that's not the way you should approach Elliott Wave, right? And we're gonna try our best to explain here the direction that we should be aiming for, and then also the possibilities that can happen even though the same direction is going to happen. Like we always said in Elliott Wave, it's like mathematics, right? If you want the end destination to be number 10, there are many different ways to go to number 10, right? It can go to 1 plus 9, it can go through 2 plus 8, and so on. So there are many different ways to go to number 10, and this is something that we need to understand in Elliott Wave. Now, even though we are calling for the downside, right, because the right side is down, so that's the key, that's the end result. More downside as long as this invalidation level is holding 78.36, this with 2 here, right? Now in the shorter cycle there are many different ways, and that's what we need to understand. What are some of those options for us? Okay, all right, so let's take a look at the main idea first, and why it is more likely to have more downside than the other way around, at least when we're talking about the shorter cycle. So let's zoom out into the 4-hour time frame. Let me copy this label with 2 here. So this is the same with 2 that you saw on the 30-minute chart. So if this is with 2, again, this is the with 1 right here, right? So with 1 is right here. So if this is 1 and 2, and then we are calling this 3 and 4, which is the same 3 and 4 here, so that means you can conclude that okay, so basically according to the 1-hour count, we should be looking something like this: finish with 5 and then finish with 3, right? So you can kind of reverse to get some ideas what are we talking about here. So if this is gonna be 1 2 3 4 5, now you want to ask yourself, where is the starting point of wave 1? And now according to the 4-hour time frame, then that should be this one, right? Now if this is ending 3, then that means this has to be ending 2, okay? And then the 1 should be somewhere here, either this one. This one looks like an impulse, so let's call it here. Let's call it expanded flat here, okay? So that means now we don't know, like this one, for example, we have the full labels in our website, so you can always take 14-day trial. The link is provided in the description of the video, right? So here we are trying to reverse and get some ideas, at least with whatever we have in the 1-hour time frame. We can somewhat replicate or trying to figure out the 4-hour, not all of them, but at least you get some ideas about the larger degree outlook, right? Now, so first of all, notice here, if we start from August 5th, which is the previous peak, major peak that we see here, right? If we start from here, okay, let's analyze the momentum. This is the same major August 5th here, right? Now if I draw some sort of trend line here, and you see there is a breakout here, right, which is the same breakout here, right? So in other words, you can conclude that this actually belongs to the same cycle, right? It's like it trades within a channel, so from here to here belongs to the same cycle. So you can conclude that this is actually ending with 1 right here, and this is really your main or major connector, as indicated by the break outside the channel, right? So over here you can conclude, okay, so this is ending with 1 here because it's the same, belongs to the same cycle. this is another cycle because it breaks the channel, and then you have a new low below that previous low after you got a new cycle. So in other words, you got a lower low. Right? So we can start measuring the extension in this case. So this, again, this belongs to the same cycle, this belongs to another cycle, and you got a new low, and you can see if you just project it like this, you have not reached the 100% extension, which is kind of like the minimum target you want to target, right? $60.20, right? So that's a reasonable short-term target we can aim for, and that is the reason why we think there is more downside to come, because you have a lower low which has not reached the minimum, which is the $60.20, and that's why the arrow is red in color. That means the right side is really lower. Now yes, it can rally here and there, but the right side is lower. Now you don't want to figure out the exact swing of up and down, because if you're trying to trade every single swing, or you're trying to trade also on the upside, you believe this is gonna rally first and so on, you can end up to be wrong, because there are many different short-term ways to go down into $60, eventually the minimum target to the downside, right? So a couple of different options here. For example, we could have, for example, ended 3 here. Now of course, if that's the case, we can see a bigger rally in 3 swings like this before going down, right? Now we can try our best to figure out the exact thing, but in reality you don't know the exact thing, right? You know it has more downside, and if there is any rally, it should fail in 3 swing, like in this case in 3 swing or in 7 swing, as long as this pivot is holding. Okay, this is just one view, one possible view in which this can play out, but it doesn't necessarily mean this is the only view. Okay, so we could have we could have ended 3 here to a 4 and going down. Another possible options, we could have ended 1 here and do a bigger rally in the 2 like this and going down. So if you're looking at the shorter cycle, there are countless different ways to be able to try to figure out how it can play out, but the idea is, as long as it stays below 78.36, if you see any rally, right, if you see any rally, that rally should fail. Right? Why? Because we have a lower low which has not reached the minimum, so most likely than not, any rally should fail, and you can draw a short-term channel here. As long as we don't break above this channel, you can continue to keep pushing it on the downside for AMD and targeting $60.20, right? This is one of the most aggressive view, but it doesn't have to play out exactly like this, right? It can, again, it can do a little bit rally first and so on, there is rally and so on, but any rally, it should continue to fail against 78.36, and we should be reaching or targeting $60.20 next to the downside. Okay, so that's it, the update here, and that's the reason we need to update the 1 hour time frame quite regularly, because this shorter cycle can always take many different paths, but the main destination, or the sort of the bigger view, still remains the same. More downside, targeting $60.20. All right, so I'll see you all again next time, and have a nice day, everyone.